Annual inflation numbers released at the end of each year are of keen interest to the superannuation sector as they dictate whether contribution caps increase in the next financial year, and we're going to see that happen from the 1st of July this year. Joining me today to discuss what will happen and the opportunities available to super fund members and their advisors is Accurium Superannuation Technical Advisor Jason Hurst. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jason.
Now, Jason, as I mentioned, there's going to be some changes coming through on the 1st of July. Can you run through what's going to change on that date in regards to the transfer balance cap and the contribution caps, and what drives these increases from time to time?
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Yeah, really, really good question. So we are going to have a bit of a double whammy this year. So we're having transfer balance cap indexation. That the general transfer balance cap will go from 2 million to 2.1 million on the 1st of July 2026. And that is indexed to CPI. So we normally find out that figure in January. And then in addition to that, contribution caps are also increasing. So our concessional cap will go from 30,000 to 32,500, which will mean our non-concessional cap is always 4 times that. So that'll go up to 130,000. And the reason these things can index at different times is because, as I mentioned, transfer balance cap is indexed to CPI, whereas contribution caps are indexed to a WATI, so average weekly ordinary times earnings. So those move at slightly different rates, and we get one in January and one in February. So we're looking at indexation for both of those.
Okay, now those caps move independently of each other from time to time, and we've seen that in the past. But this year, both caps will rise together. So, what's the importance of both of those caps increasing at the same time?
Yeah, so very, very good question, Jason. So commonly when we're talking about transfer balance cap, we try to keep that a little bit separate to contributions just to avoid confusion. But where the link is that when we're looking at whether a client can make non-concessional contributions, we start with the general transfer balance cap. So for this year that we're in now, currently we need our total super balance to be below $2 million to be able to make any NCCs, and that's in line with the general transfer balance cap. When we move into financial year 2027, because the general transfer balance cap moves up to 2.1 million, that will mean that anyone with less than 2.1 million in total super balance on the 30th of June 2026 will have at least some non-concessional opportunities, assuming they're not in a prior bring forward. So there is that link there. When we're looking at the upper end of the total super balance, we'll be starting from the 2.1 million next year rather than the current 2 million.
So there's a number of opportunities here. We've got greater concessional contributions, we've got greater non-concessional contributions, we've got greater bring forward non-concessionals, and we've got greater catch-up concessional contributions because all those thresholds are going up. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So the starting point is the concessional cap is always the one that is subject to indexation. So that goes up to the 32,500. And then because our non-concessional is set at 4 times the concessional, then that will go up to 130. And then, of course, bring forward, if we're entitled to the full 3 years, then we'll have the 390 3-year bring forward rather than the current 360.
Now, one of the things that's been around for a while and has been used by many people is the making a withdrawal and then making a recontribution. How will that operate under the new rules? Is that still viable given the current rules and regulations surrounding superannuation and taxation? And would you be better off making that strategy in this financial year or wait till the start of next financial year to do so, if you can?
Yeah, I think that really depends on the amounts involved. There could be an opportunity, possibly, depending on age and balances. Maybe someone can make a large withdrawal in the current financial year and then look at putting 120 back perhaps before 30 June and then keep that full bring forward for the next financial year. So that'll be 120,000 and 390,000. So I think the indexation of the thresholds enhance this opportunity for clients. It was probably really opened up after the 2022 changes, where the work test was removed and the bring forward was extended up until age 75. So there's really a lot of opportunities to do the withdrawal recontribution strategy for a much later period. So usually right up till age 75. And as our caps and our total super balance get higher, then that opens it up to potentially more clients to take advantage of that opportunity. And that could be a recontribution where they're perhaps taking some money out of their own super and putting it back as tax free, which is an estate planning strategy. Or it could even be where perhaps they're taking some of their own super out and they're recontributing it to their spouse. And that might help with, as well as estate planning, that might help with transfer balance caps. So, and also potentially Division 296 as well by being able to even up those balances across a couple. So definitely a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, because there's lots of interplay, I guess, between when contribution caps go up. There's lots of interplays with other levers that people can pull. You've mentioned spouse recontributions and your own recontributions and Div 296. But I guess a separate and related issue has been the changes to marginal tax rates on personal income. And then we see an interplay also now with personal deductible and salary sacrifice contributions for those on lower incomes. Can you run me through how these changes may be useful for people considering those two sets of contributions, and what benefits they could get out of it?
Yeah, so when we think about the changes in the marginal tax rate, so that's something that I've really started to give some thought to in recent times. So we've traditionally, where possible, we've traditionally told clients to try and salary sacrifice or make personal deductible contributions down to the point where they pay zero tax. So that would normally be, I think at the moment it's about $22,500. So that's the point where tax or personal income tax would be zero. What I've started to look at is that lower tax bracket. So the bracket from 18,200 to 45,000, that's getting lower. So I think it was 19% a few years ago. It's now down to 16, and then it'll go to 15 and 14. So I'm going to revisit some of those numbers just to see what benefits there may still be in salary sacrificing or deducting contributions down below that 45,000. So I really want to sort of dive into those numbers, and hopefully they'll still show some merit, but just to give your clients some idea of where an optimal salary sacrifice point might be.
Because their numbers worth looking at because they don't just apply to people with incomes around that 45,000 or less, because they apply to everyone because we all have that first bracket of 18 to 45. Everyone has that in their tax environment. So this revision, or I guess, or this review of it is useful for all of us because we all have money in that zone, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be even relevant to people with large capital gains. So, with the carry forward contribution rules, sometimes perhaps people are retired or semi retired. So, generally, their income might be quite low. But if they make a large capital gain, then we're trying to make a large personal deductible contribution using the carried forward rules. And then we need to consider whether we do that down to 45,000 or below. So, it's not necessarily just for low income earners. It could be higher income earners that do have access to the carried forward rules as well.
Now, you're going to be going into these issues in some depth, as well as catch-up concessional contributions, downsizer contributions, all these things at the SMSF Professionals Day, which is co-hosted by Self-Managed Super and Curium. And that's taking place on the 19th of May in Sydney, the 21st of May in Melbourne, and the 25th of May in Brisbane. Details of how you can register for that and secure early bird pricing on screen now, or alternatively visit the link in the description below where you can find more details. Jason, thanks for your time today, and we'll see you at the Professionals Day.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, and see you all there.